Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Mindy here and I hope you are doing well. If you are celebrating spring break this week or the prior week or this upcoming week because you're a teacher, a parent, a student, or whatever it is, I hope it is an amazing week for you. Today I'm going to go through gourmand fragrances, my top gourmand fragrances that I'm really loving at this point in time. Now, my collection does change, it shifts, evolves. I'm constantly trying new things. So the gourmand fragrances that I have on this list may be different than the gourmand fragrances that I had on my last top gourmand list. I think these are really fun to do. And this list is really dependent on how I'm feeling at that point in time, what my current mood is, what season we're in, what fragrances have recently come into my collection or left my collection. So this list will continue to shift over time, but I wanted to share what my favorite gourmand fragrances are that I've been reaching for the most lately. This is not a top gourmand fragrance for life video. That I can do in the future, but I'd really need to think through what I find to be the most versatile across seasons, moods, so on and so forth. There are so many fragrances that didn't make this list this time, and while I still love those like Angel EDT, Lost Cherry, Seductive Red, Mon Guerlain, Angel Muse, Girl of Now Shine, the list goes on and on and on. There are so many that I love and could be on future lists depending on how I'm feeling at the point in time, but these are the perfumes that I wanted to include today. So without further ado, I will jump right in. The first fragrance that I have here on this list is La Vie Belle Intense by the House of Lancome. This is a brand that I absolutely adore. I will continue to buy La Vie Belle releases that come up. For example, the We fragrance that was just released was available on Macy's this past weekend, so I purchased it, though it doesn't seem like it's on its way yet. I love the La Vie Belle line, and what I think is amazing about this particular line, there are so many flankers that I feel like will appeal to all different tastes and preferences. So for example, if you like orange blossom, you might want to try the Le Clot. If you like raspberry, you might want to try the Intensement. What I really love about the intense version of La Vie Belle is that it has gorgeous gourmand notes in it. There is hazelnut, there is whipped cream in this perfume, and those notes really do blend beautifully with the floral notes that are in this one as well. So there's tuberose, there's iris, orange blossom, jasmine sambac, and for me it just feels like this is an exquisite blend of floral notes as well as those beautiful gourmand notes, making this a perfume that continuously lands on gourmand lists for me because it's that good of a perfume. This is effortlessly beautiful in my mind, and while I do like the original La Vie Belle, I have found over time that the flankers that have come out have appealed a little bit more to my nose. This will continue to be on top gourmand lists for me moving forward until it gets bumped by new fragrances that take its place. But for now, this definitely deserves a spot. This is La Vie Belle Intense by the House of Lancome. The next perfume on this list is one that is well loved, well embraced in the fragrance community. There are vanilla perfumes, and then there is Vanilla 28 by the House of Kayali. This is a house that I think is really well balanced in the sense that they have an offering for everybody. If you like florals, they have something for you. If you like those oriental type fragrances, they have something for you. If you love vanilla perfumes, this is an amazing one to try out. The notes composition in this one is absolutely stunning. It is warm, it's rich, it's deep. It does have a brown sugar note in it as well, and that brown sugar note with the amber, the patchouli, the vanilla orchid, the jasmine, all of those different things in this fragrance make it so beautiful, so alluring, and often makes this one land on a lot of people's top 10, top vanilla, top gourmand fragrance lists. Kayali had a ton of releases in this past year. The Invite Only Amber, they had the Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper, the Vanilla Coco, just so many great fragrances that came out that appeal to a broad range of tastes and preferences. So I'm really interested to see what comes from this house next. But for now, this is my favorite from the house. This is Vanilla 28 by the House of Kayali. Next up is La Nuit Tresor à la Folie, and this is by the House of Lancome. This consistently makes my top gourmand list, my top vanilla list, because it is that good. Again, there could come a point in time where this fragrance gets bumped, and I kind of hope it does, because as you bring new fragrances in that you love even more than the old fragrances, then they move lower on the list. But for now, this one stays on my list. It is a fragrance that I find to be comforting, inviting, calming, soothing, beautiful. To me, this has a very noticeable vanilla base to it. It is vanilla-centric, but it has a warm, a fruity type vibe to it as well. So people who love vanillas will want to get their nose on this perfume. Rumor has it that this fragrance is in the process of being discontinued, and I can't confirm or deny that rumor, but I did notice that some of the La Nuit Tresor fragrances, specifically the recently released Intense, are not available in the US. So I am a little bit concerned about that rumor because I love this one so much. I do have a backup bottle and may consider adding additional backups to my collection. This is La Nuit Tresor à la Folie by the House of Lancome. One thing that I've learned through my fragrance journey is that sometimes I like my fragrance to be like my coffee. And in that way, I love hazelnut. This is Tribeca by the House of Bond No. 9, and it has a hazelnut note in it. It has cacao and broxin, caramel. It has a moss note, a cedar note, and I find this to be another gorgeous gourmand fragrance that is probably about a 9 out of 10 for me. While I do consider this to be an intoxicating, smooth, woody, ambery gourmand type fragrance, it does have a white floral aspect as well. So it does have jasmine sambac in it, which is said to have a rich floral honey tea undertone with a green quality. So I wonder if that's what gives it that smoothness that seems to cohesively bring all of the notes together in this one. Whatever it is, I just find this to be incredible. I love the composition of this scent, and it has been on past gourmand lists of mine because it's that good. Again, this is Tribeca by the House of Bond No. 9. Moving on to another fragrance that I feel like is a little bit of a surprise to me how much I love it. This is Ce Soir by the House of BDK. This is a fruity type scent, even though it is classified as a floral fragrance. Usually I don't gravitate towards floral fragrances the way I have this one, but this has a really nice balance of notes that take away some of that heavy floral aspect that you get in other perfumes. So for example, there is quince in this perfume, which gives it a little bit of an aromatic, kind of dry, fruity scent profile. And this one also has a note of ginger. So ginger is said to give it a pop of freshness, a little bit of spice, and that's why I find this one to be warm, very, very slightly spicy to my nose, a little bit fruity, it's woody, it's floral. It really is well blended. It's the whole picture. This is the type of fragrance that I think a lot of people will really enjoy, but I also say try this one before you buy it. It was not a love at first sniff for me. It took a little while for this one to grow on me, so definitely recommend getting a sample of this perfume, but overall, I find it to be classy, I find it to be elegant, sophisticated, a very well-rounded type fragrance that is appropriate for any scenario that you have. You can go to a business meeting, you can wear this for a sporting event, you can wear this for a nice dinner. It really is a versatile perfume that fits all settings. Unique perfume with unique notes, one that I really enjoy by the House of BDK. This is Ce Soir. Moving on to a fragrance that is one of my very favorite gourmands in my collection, but also one of my top fragrances in my collection. This is Bois Dore by the House of Van Cleef and Arpels. This is the fragrance that taught me that unisex fragrances really open the door for a fragrance enthusiast. I had historically felt like I wanted to reach for fragrances that were classified as feminine. And that was a mistake on my part because there are so many beautiful perfumes that are classified as unisex. It really opens the door to all of the fragrances that we have to explore. This is one that I'm so happy to have discovered, and it wasn't a love at first sniff because I felt like it leaned a little bit masculine at first. That is not the case anymore. I've really acclimated to this scent profile, and I love how it fits in my collection. I love how it wears on my skin. This perfume has a narcotic and addictive quality to me. The most noticeable note in this one is that vanilla-centric notes profile, but there is so much more to this perfume than just that. It is a very smooth blend. The vanilla is accompanied by beautiful woody notes like teakwood and cedar, but there is also tobacco and almond in this perfume. And if you are an almond lover, if you are a tobacco lover, I definitely recommend getting your nose on this perfume. Lastly, this one has a little bit of a cool quality. So while I gravitate towards warm, cozy, comforting gourmands, this one has a little bit of a cool flair to it because of those mineral notes. And I just love how those work with the vanilla in this perfume, making it one of my favorites of all time at this point. This is Bois Dore by the House of Van Cleef and Arpels. Yeah, this is a good one. Now I'm going to move on to a YouTube made me buy fragrance. This is one that I saw pop up a ton in recent months, probably back in maybe November timeframe or so. I had seen a lot of people talking about this one, which made me think maybe the house had sent out some perfume bottles for people to review. This is Note Vanillee by the House of M.Micallef. I've heard other people say Note Vanillee, so I don't know if that's correct. So if I'm saying it wrong, please correct me. For now, I'll refer to it as Note Vanillee. I finally sampled this one and I became hooked very quickly. But when I first sampled it, I was taken aback by almost the indolic quality that is in here. It has jasmine, it has some florals, it has some booziness. And I always wondered if that's what gave it a little bit of a body odor scent to me at one point in time. Once I got used to the scent profile, I no longer thought that. But that is something that some people say that they pick up from this perfume, and it was something that I picked up at first. To me, I find this to be a warm, cozy, boozy, vanillic scent with a little hint of floral notes. The boozy notes in here are rum and cognac, and they just work so well with the citruses, the sandalwood, the amber, and of course the floral notes, jasmine. This is a lovely composition. I of course have the older bottle version here. They have repackaged the product, and so it now comes in a little bit of a wider bottle. It looks a little bit different, but nonetheless, I think the fragrance profile has stayed the same. And this is one that I definitely suggest checking out if you like those warm, slightly boozy, spicy vanilla perfumes. I think people could argue that this one would work best in the winter months, but I do have to say, if I smelled this at a game outside in the evening, or they were out on a dinner date sitting outside and the breeze blew by, this one would be absolutely stunning. So I do think it is a little bit more versatile than I was originally considering when I pinned this down to a winter fall scent. I don't think it is only that. This is Note Vanillee by the House of M.Micallef. All right, moving on to another fragrance that I recently fell in love with. Yet again, not a love at first sniff. Yet again, another BDK fragrance. This is Rouge Smoking by the House of BDK, of course. This is one that really roped me in after playing with it time and time again. This is a cherry-centric fragrance, but something interesting about this one is that it has a little bit of a cola scent profile. So if you like the smell of Coca-Cola, Cherry Coke, or Dr. Pepper, it is a little bit in that vein in that it has a slight effervescentness to it, but it has that smokiness, as the name suggests by the name Rouge Smoking, but it also has that cherry that just comes together really, really well in this perfume. As you can see here, I only have a sample of this fragrance right now, and a piece of me wants that beautiful red BDK bottle so badly in my collection, but I have moved forward with buying a bottle of She Loves Red by the House of Dua. I bought this back when I was still on the fence of this perfume and wasn't sure if I loved it or if I sort of liked it. I do love this one now, and I want it in my collection. The one thing that I struggle with this perfume is that the performance isn't great on it. I feel like the longevity of the Dua clone is much better than the original perfume, and for that reason, I do like having this in my collection. That being said, I feel like this one is very close to the Dua, maybe a little bit fruitier, a little bit softer, whereas this one to me has a little bit more of a smoky feel to it, which I do like. But again, I almost feel like the perfect composition would be blending these two together, because then you'd get the perfect balance. You would get the longevity out of here, and you'd get a little bit more of that fruity scent here. My own opinion, both of these are great perfumes, and if you want to try something like this at a lower price, this is really an excellent option in my opinion. I am hoping to bring this in my collection at some point in time. You can buy it on Aura Fragrance for a reasonable price. At least you could before. This is gorgeous, but this one is getting me by for now. So both lovely scents. This is Rouge Smoking by the House of BDK, and this is She Loves Red by the Dua brand. All right, moving on to a newer fragrance in my collection, definitely new to this list. This fragrance is Vacation by the House of Arquiste. Now this fragrance seems to be getting a ton of attention lately, and that probably has to do with the epic marketing on behalf of the brand, but don't let that fool you, because the marketing is pretty wild. It is in your face. If you Google this fragrance one time, you're probably gonna see it on your feeds forever and ever and ever. But it is a very good fragrance in my opinion. And it does deserve a top 10 gourmand fragrance designation, at least on my list. I would say that this one is semi-affordable. I believe this is only a 30 ml perfume bottle, and I think I paid around $60 for it. So it's not ideal when you think about affordable fragrances, but also I'm probably gonna use this one quite a bit throughout the summer and go through it. So I'm gonna need a new bottle, but definitely one that I suggest trying out, because if you like that nostalgic feel that you get from a suntan oil, or you love beachy fragrances, traditional tropical fragrances, something that really gets you in the vacation mindset and spirit, this is one that I think you're gonna like. It has notes of banana, solar notes. There's definitely a solar feel to this perfume. There's bergamot musk, sea salt, coconut in different forms, coconut milk and coconut water. Just overall really enjoying the way this makes me feel. And even though it hasn't totally warmed up just yet where I live, this is one I'm reaching for already because I enjoy the scent profile so much. Ultimately, this is going to be a great spring and summer type perfume, one that I do recommend, one that is getting more and more attention, it seems, on social media, and that is for good reason. This is Vacation by the House of Arquiste. All right, the last fragrance that I have here is one that I do not have a full bottle of. I actually only have a clone house sample. So this is the Dapper clone of One Umbrella for Two by the House of Floraiku. This is one that I debated putting on this list because I only have the sample, but truth be told, this is one that has really drawn me in, and I absolutely adore it at this point in time. I consider this to be a spicy scent, but there's definitely more to it than that. There is a fruitiness in it. There is black currant, tea, and cedar, which seems like an incomplete list of notes because you definitely feel like you're getting some fruitiness in this perfume, sort of similar to the fruitiness that is in Passé Soir. It does not smell like Passé Soir, but the way the notes come together, it does remind me of the qualities that I love in Passé Soir. I sort of like about this one as well. As I've been becoming more and more obsessed with this scent profile from this clone house, I was curious what other people were saying about this one. And it turns out that several of the fragrance reviews on Fragrantica have said that this smells like a warm, cozy blueberry muffin. And I do agree with that. But I feel like on top of the blueberry muffin scent that you get here, there are other nuances, almost like a booziness maybe, sort of a slight spiciness as well. I just have a hard time describing this one, but it is unique, it is stunning, and I'm becoming low-key obsessed with this perfume. This is one of those perfumes that I would absolutely, unequivocally buy in a heartbeat if it were an affordable perfume. The fragrance One Umbrella for Two by the House of Floraiku actually retails at the price of $350, I believe, which is a steep price to pay on something that you only have a clone version of that perfume for. So I'm really debating on if I'll move forward with the full bottle. This is the original fragrance on my wants list. It's on my to buy list, but I think I need to grow a little bit of courage to move forward with the full bottle because of that price point and because I've only tried the clone. That all being said, if you have tastes and preferences that are similar to mine, I think you're probably going to like this perfume. I am captivated by it. I'm in love with this clone house fragrance that I have here for the perfume One Umbrella for Two by the House of Floraiku. All right guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. As always, I truly appreciate you. If you enjoyed this video on the top gourmands that I'm appreciating and wearing lately, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, a lot to be grateful and thankful for. Until next time, I'll see you soon.